his business card with finesse. The card's a URL to a website. He says my number's on that page, see it tonight. Front-end developers like to put on shows, flash UI but performance never grows. Give their junk a touch, it explodes. The likelihood of pleasure no one knows. Erectile dysfunction is the true game. Two pumps on the mouse, limp shame. Their sites load longer than they could ever last. I get home with the card clutched in hand, get on my laptop and on the URL I land. A fancy loading spinner, all just a wait. Made with React, didn't realize my fate. 20 minutes later, it's still spinning. This guy's a front-end dev, got a feeling. The fans on my laptop, they go brrr. Finally the page loads, my heart is stirred. The browser crashes hard, lose it all. Guess he has a small penis after all. Front-end developers like to put on shows, flash UI but performance never grows. Give their junk a touch, it explodes. The likelihood of pleasure no one knows. Erectile dysfunction is the true game. Two pumps on the mouse, limp shame. The sites load longer than they could ever last.
Front-end tards think they're code bards. Stupidity they guard, their brain just lard. Performance is too hard, penis thin as a card. All their tools a cope, React, Vite, View, no hope. Abstractions for the dope, good code, nope. Front-end tards think they're code bards. Stupidity they guard, their brain just lard. Performance is too hard, penis thin as a card. All their tools a cope, React, blank, View, no hope. Abstractions for the dope, good code, nope. Nope.
You're stacking React like it's some kind of flex. Hooks and states got you caught in a mess. Python's your savior, oh honey please. Indent that code, still crashing with ease. Oh, you're lost in the hype, can't you see? Tech trash talk, yeah, it's coming from me. Agile dreams and your J-roar's a bore. I'm dancing past you, straight to the core. Sprinting through Agile, you think you're so slick. Scrum masters yelling, commit that quick. Jira tickets piling up to the sky. You're clicking through hell and I'm waving bye-bye. Oh, you're lost in the hype, can't you see? Tech trash talk, yeah, it's coming from me. Agile dreams and your Jira's a bore. I'm dancing past you, straight to the core.
Stop the music here. Yeah, you think I should write a React replacement in C? What makes you think that, Travis? Why would I want to recreate React in C? That's a terrible, terrible idea. For the lulz. For the lulz. Welcome in, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. It's good to see everyone. Whether you are on Twitch or YouTube or Rumble or X or LinkedIn, I appreciate everybody jumping on here and slogging through tech news with me. I'll go through a few smaller items to start with, and then we'll go through a little bit of an OpenAI set of articles. That's kind of thematic, and then I'll end it off with a pretty funny exchange I've been having with someone on X who has done a fantastic job of demonstrating exactly what is wrong with our industry because of their incapability of making any logical argument whatsoever. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure this person couldn't even define logic, and yet they are somehow a staple name in the tech industry, apparently. So they say. I did look them up, and there's some truth to it, which is actually mind-boggling. So that'll be the gist of the stream today. But the actual problem is it's not the person itself. It's representative of the kind of people that that push for particular types of thinking that just don't fit in with how programming should work. So we'll talk about that briefly at the end of the stream before I log off. Okay, I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready for the news. You guys all ready for the news? Let's do it. Oh, what's up, Battle? Good to see you. I'm using AI to build my React app for my NPM project. It's a side project. I'm working on a government project for the Treasury HR department. Ha 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 ha. That's so disgusting. It's not even funny, Battle. It's just not even. It's just not even. Let me switch cameras here. Here we go. Okay. Beware. Hackers can apparently now send phishing emails from no reply at google.com. Yes, that's right. Crooks are, you know what? Actually, I'm just realizing that the term crooks, I haven't heard that in a while. I haven't heard the term crooks in a while. It feels like one of those old timey terms that like somebody from like the 50s would say, "Oh, that guy's a crook, I tell ya." What a crook, I tell ya. Oh, them crooks, I tell ya. Oh, God. Yeah, gee, Wally Willikers. Anyway, they're using Google's notification system to bypass email protection through OAuth apps. They're able to generate convincing phishing emails. The campaign also uses sites.google.com. So somebody found and somebody had received an email that came from no reply at google.com, which is a legitimate email. The email said that law enforcement subpoenaed Google for content found in his Google account. He said the email looked legitimate. That was very difficult to spot that it's actually fake. He believes less technical users might easily fall for the trick. Yeah. Now, how exactly did they do it? Well, first you create a Google account for me at domain. Then you create a Google OAuth app and put the entire phishing message about the fake subpoena in the name field. Then they would grant themselves access to the email address in Google Workspace. Google would then send a notification email to the me at domain account. But since the phishing message was in the name field, it would cover the entire screen. Scrolling to the bottom of the email message would show clear signs that something was amiss, since at the bottom one could read about getting access to the me at domain email address. The final step is to forward the email to the victim. Since Google generated the email, it's signed with a valid DKIM key and passes all the checks. This is actually quite, I mean, Yeah, those ne'er-do-wells, those ne'er-do-well crooks. This is quite the hack. That's crazy. So I guess just be careful out there because I mean, this is easy. Okay, so this one is an easy one to detect, right? All you have to do is look at the entire email. So just scroll to the bottom. That's fine. That's great. But the fact that they got this far and they were able to utilize Google's own key generation to send an email like this, it's pretty smart. I got to give it to them. It's pretty smart. Not gonna lie. Okay. Um, Next piece of news. Redis was essentially replaced, taken over and replaced, or removed rather. Well, replaced and removed. I think because of a licensing update. I think Microsoft or something like that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Microsoft essentially took over Redis, and the licensing updates made it so that like Arc here, for example, could no longer use Redis anymore. It could no longer be included or used as like one of the packages that you can pull down. So um, they're recommending that you remove Redis or move from Redis to Valkey, so that you're not stuck by not having Redis anymore. So I just thought I'd bring it up in case it matters to anybody. If you're doing like, I don't know, sysadmin or like DevOps or something, it might matter to you. If you're using Arc and you're using Redis for something, it might matter to you. So it falls under the purview of daily tech news. I did want to bring up a little bit of a fun break. Let me go and do, hang on. Let me do this. 1 second. Here we go. Okay. I did find this. This isn't really newsworthy, but it is something that was a little bit interesting that I thought I'd bring up to the viewers. Um, it, this guy is hosting a blog on a Nintendo Wii. Yeah, you can just Google it. I won't read it. I just thought it was kind of like a fun aside that these kinds of things are being done. It's interesting, and then he even has a status page for his Wii, for his Wii, and how the thing is operating. I thought it was kind of interesting. Pretty cool stuff. So thought I'd bring this one up just for the funsies. Um, this one, yeah, status page for his Wii. Yeah, this one I thought was somewhat interesting. Only insofar as um, the ability to run AI on a regular CPU. It has some interesting implications. I haven't fully thought about this yet, but I just thought that it might be kind of an interesting topic to bring up. So essentially, what Microsoft did is they came up with this new AI model, which I think they called BitNet. And instead of having like floating point precision numbers in their uh, in their inputs and outputs for training their AI, they essentially use ternary, but they call it bits for, which is kind of binary. So it's kind of I don't know, I feel like it's a bit misnamed, but instead of floating point, they just go 1, 0, or -1 for all their values. And it gets good enough that you can run it on a CPU. Is it as good as what runs on GPUs? I think the ArcSiv paper they released shows that it's not, but it's pretty good. I think this, if I can take a guess as to any direction that this is going, it might not be going in the direction of AI is going to get better. I actually think the paper proves that like limiting the amount of input and output data capability is making it like worse than even what we have now. But I do think that what's going to come out of AI in general is narrower scopes of functionality that you can apply to certain tasks that you can kind of automate away with AI, and those things can be brought down into such succinct packages that they can run on a CPU and help you to get through the churn of handling those scenarios, faster or better, or just automate them away. So I do think there's some interesting stuff coming out of here. I need to read this paper a bit better and think about it a bit more, because I'm sure there's something that I can criticize here. But I just, thought it'd be interesting. Now, do we have cyber attacks? Do we have cyber attacks? I mean, that's normally what I go through, right? Normally I talk about cyber attacks. And yes, I sure have cyber attacks. Cyber attack on M&S leads to click and collect delays. Now, M&S, Marks and Spencer, is a UK retailer, and they're actually quite big over there. So this isn't a small thing. It's not like a mom and pop shop, kind of a thing. But they have a click and collect service. This is similar to what IKEA has too. You have IKEA near you, you can purchase online, and then you go to IKEA, and then there's like a place where your stuff is like put together, and then you just like carry it out essentially. So very similar thing. And as a result of whatever's happened here, they've had to make changes, obviously. And so they have confirmed that there's an issue. And they had to send a notice to their investors. And they had to report it to the National Cybersecurity Center. I don't know if this is a requirement. If it's not a requirement, I would ask why. Is it so bad that you did have to do this? But I don't know for a fact, right? So the question is, what happened? And unfortunately, there is no answer. So we don't know what happened here, but just so you know that if you're in the UK or for somehow, some way, you've used M&S before, and not S&M, okay, M&S, the order of those words matters, all right? So it's M&S, okay? All right, just to be clear. Watch it. Just be careful out there, because it's kind of unknown. The details are a bit unknown about what happened, what kind of data might have been leaked, if any. It's difficult to say, right? So just keep an eye on it. Hey, what's up, Mike? We don't believe in answering questions. Yeah, that's right. That's right. If you answer questions, then you're responsible for whatever the problem is, right? You're responsible for the answer. Okay. Over here, up next, employee monitoring app leaks 21 million screenshots in real time. A surveillance tool meant to keep tabs on employees is leaking millions of real-time screenshots onto the open web. It's a thing called Work Composer. It's used by over 200,000 people across countless companies. The app is designed to track productivity by logging activity and snapping regular screenshots of employees' screens. Left over 21 million images exposed in an unsecured Amazon S3 bucket. I can't. I can't. I can't. I can't. Bros, I can't. How many times have we read about unsecured S3 buckets? It's so simple. It's so simple. It's so simple. It's so simple to secure an S3 bucket. It's so easy. It's so simple. We never do it. Apparently we never do it. I'm losing track. I think this is the third or fourth one in 4-ish weeks of doing the daily tech news streaming where I have read that the issue comes from an unsecured Amazon S3 bucket. So obviously, it does not take much to figure out what kind of data could be leaked out of that. You can get full screen captures of emails, internal chats, confidential business documents, login pages, credentials, API keys, and just anything else that exists on your screen, right? Unsecured Amazon has 3 buckets are like the largest vector for leaks. When are people going to learn? Yeah. You're here for some ranting, Sergeant? I'll get to it. If it's not public, then how do you get access to it? Yeah, that's a fair point. Although lukewarm take, why aren't they locked down secured by default? Well, because you might. So this is this is an actual reason that it does not come up very often. It's so rare. It's really, really rare that this comes up. But if you're trying to be a stickler about performance, adding a security layer over top of an S3 bucket adds some extra steps like encryption and decryption and whatever. And if you can make an argument that you're storing data that doesn't need any security, then why would you take on the extra performance hit for security you don't need because the data doesn't need it, right? So the point of the service is not to tell you how to do something. It's just to give you the ability to do it should you choose to do so. Most of the time, like a vast majority of the time, you should choose to do so. Right? And so that's why by default, it's unsecured. It's your responsibility to have the logical capability of thinking about what you're doing and whether you need security for this. And apparently, look at my screen right now. You've got an email here, right? You've got calendar stuff. Yeah, Dingus oriented programming, Dingus development. Yeah. Like, obviously, if you have this thing recording the screen of employees across all kinds of different companies, then yes, you're going to get access to all kinds of stuff and an unsecured S3 bucket. It's so depressing. I'm so depressed by the state of this industry. It's so depressing. It really is. And there's more. The stream's not over. What's up, John on YouTube? Good to see you, man. Yeah, it still boggles my mind that stuff like this is even legal. How do you not do an audit? So look, if you can defend the position of Amazon and say, well, like Amazon will not give you security by default because that's not their job. Their job is to give you a prefab, right? And it's your job to go and put the guardrails around the prefab. I can understand that argument, but then I would ask, how do you not do an audit? I had to check. Block all public access is checked by default. Right. Okay. Yes, Sergeant, you're right. You're actually, yes, you're 100% right. So my statement was misleading. Yes. By default, there is no access. It's only internal or no. I can't remember what that setting is. But if you're going to plug this into another service, you're probably going to enable access, public access. And then what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to narrow that public access by any number of mechanisms, right? Amazon's job is not to do that for you. But even still, so I was like off the mark on that, right? But even still, how do you not do an audit? I don't know. Especially for something like this, like on my screen right now, this way. How do you not? I just don't understand, right? Anyways, let's continue. This one, that's the one we covered. Okay, got this one here. Hackers abuse Zoom remote control feature for crypto theft attacks. A hacking group dubbed Elusive Comet targets cryptocurrency users in social engineering attacks that exploit Zoom's remote control feature to trick users into granting them access to their machines. Zoom's remote control feature allows meeting participants to take control of another participant's computer. The perpetrators mirror techniques used by the Lazarus hacking group in the massive 1.5 billion Bybit crypto heist, which I think it was the first or second daily tech news stream. I kind of went over this a bit. So they manipulate legitimate workflows rather than exploit code vulnerabilities. So what they do, they attempt to conduct a social engineering attack on CEOs via X direct messages. The attack starts with an invitation to a Bloomberg crypto interview via Zoom, sent to high-value targets via sock puppet accounts on X or via email bloombergconferences@gmail.com. The fake accounts impersonate crypto-focused journalists or Bloomberg outlets and reach out to the targets via direct messages on social media platforms. So these are some of the messages, and so you'll get a message like this, and it'll look legitimate enough that if you're not looking close enough, you'll be like, holy crap, Bloomberg? Where do I sign up? Right? Then you get a Calendly link and you go to a Zoom meeting. And everything so far looks legit. Then, during the Zoom call, the attacker initiates a screen sharing session and sends a remote control request to the target. The trick employed in this stage is that the attackers... I just want you to... I can't even Zoom properly because of this stupid website. Look, I just want you to see how they're doing it. The attackers rename their Zoom display name to Zoom. Why would they do this? So the prompt the victim sees reads, Zoom is requesting remote control of your screen. Bros, we're so cooked. Oh, God. What the hell? We're so cooked. Oh, we're so cooked. Bros, we're so cooked. Oh, God. Oh, this is too much. We're so cooked. And so you can guess what goes on from there. Once you read this and you go, well, I guess Zoom wants... I can't even do it anymore. Oh, I don't know whether to hate people who do this or whether to, like, I don't know, praise them for their ingenuity, or perhaps both. This is crazy. Man, this is why we can't have nice things, yeah. Yeah, Mike, you don't need to be a computer professional to practice common sense. Apparently, something a lot of these big shot company people can't get, yeah. There's a reason they have speed limits on the highway, yeah. What's up, Garrett Games? Good to see you, brother. Yeah. Some turns, people would fly off the end of the highway. Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is, I don't... Directions on shampoo bottles. This is so terrible. Look, you have to admit... Look. Let's try and be a bit fair, okay? It's funny. It's funny as hell. But you have a grandmother, right? Yes. You have to admit that if you're someone who does not operate in our space, right? You don't know how these things work. You can see how this could be deceptive enough to bypass. Like, I can see a lot of people looking at this and nothing goes off in their head that says, I should probably check this. I can understand, right? I can understand people falling for this. I would still wonder why you would even accept this to a stranger. you know, but there should be a flag that comes up and is like, yeah, what the heck, why? But anyways, I'm trying to be fair, okay? I'm trying to be fair, but it's hilarious. It's hilarious. It does say you can regain control at any time by clicking on your screen. Yes, and I don't, I don't know. I don't know. Browsers requesting control of your microphone. Yeah. I mean, yeah, Travis has a point. People might not actually read this. That's correct. People may not actually read it. That's 100% right. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Might not be something people read. Okay. All right. I have two more, but I try and keep these down to an hour, and I've got a few other topics. Let me see if there's an important one that I need to bring up. Not that one. Not that one. Not that. Okay, so I'll leave the other ones for after. Okay, we're going to get into OpenAI for just a bit, for a few minutes. So this is from April 20th. And it's been discovered that OpenAI does not know how to properly benchmark. We went over this on a daily tech news stream, I think last week. I'm pretty sure it was last week, where the reported benchmarks for their new models are actually worse. Somehow the new OpenAI models perform worse. And what's even worse than that is that OpenAI doesn't know why currently. So this article in particular is not exactly what I want to bring up, although it's an interesting article because it goes into what the benchmarks are and how exactly they are worse or better than previous models, just depends. But there's something sketchy about that's going on, and I don't think it's necessarily sketchy from OpenAI side because I don't think they even understand, right? Now, we take that so just keep that in mind, right? So lock that away, okay? OpenAI tells Judge it would buy Chrome from Google. Now, why is this? Well, Google is going through a court battle where they might be forced to sell off portions of their holdings, Chrome being one of them, because they're too monopolized. That's kind of the short version of it. Should they sell Chrome, then it's open, it's open waters for somebody to come in and buy it. And that would also have to be approved. These things are, these kinds of court cases are meant to kind of like keep monopolies in check, more or less. So even if someone is forced to sell off a piece of their company so that they're not a monopoly, they're not an unfair monopoly, someone else can't just come and purchase it and it's just a business transaction. It also has to get approved by a court process, usually, not always. And so the reason is because if you have one monopoly just selling off to another monopoly, then all you have is monopolies, right? So you need to get that kind of like those kinds of sales typically kind of approved through some legal process that's beyond just like a handshake and a contract, right? Now, OpenAI says that it wants to buy Google from Chrome, or that it would at least be interested in that. Can you begin to see a problem? What kinds of things have we gone over on these streams, the daily tech news streams, and on the enlightened programming streams with regards to the methods and tactics that AI companies, including OpenAI, but not exclusive, the kinds of tactics that these companies use in order to get their training data, in order to essentially game metrics so that they can overhype and oversell the capabilities of AI. The amount of money being spent on Studio Ghibli and at best junior level code, like start piecing this together, right? And what would happen if OpenAI got their hands on Chrome? Well, now your data is ripe for the taking. And OpenAI just has direct access to all of your browsing history if that's what you're if you're using Google Chrome. I don't know how this impacts WebKit itself, because a lot of browsers are based on like the underlying portion of Chrome. Chrome is like kind of an abstraction of an underlying portion of web APIs. So I don't know how that's going to be impacted, and whether like other browsers, like Edge, for example, will also be impacted by this. I would imagine they would be, which would mean that you would have very few, if any, actual browsers to escape to if you wanted to avoid OpenAI having a chokehold on this data and then using it for what? For crap, right? That's all that's all OpenAI has basically produced up to this point. It's just crap. Most of it's useless, regardless of what people would like to tell you. Or at the very least, even if it is useful, there's a bunch of very dangerous aspects to it that nobody talks about, right? So this is one aspect of OpenAI that I'm not particularly happy with. There's another aspect, but before I get to that other aspect, let's go over to the next article, which came out today. I believe today. Oh no, 2 days ago. Washington Post inks deal with OpenAI. Do you guys, can you guys see kind of like the direction? Can anybody see the direction? So if OpenAI got access to Google Chrome, right, and owned it, and then OpenAI has a very, very, let's say, good deal with Washington Post, how many hallucinated news articles do you think we're going to get? Right? And this is the problem that I foresee. I could see OpenAI taking control of Chrome, for example, and then performance doesn't matter as much anymore. Why? Because just like NVIDIA will use AI to generate frames in video games so that you get a 30 FPS video game running at 60 FPS because the other 30 are AI generated. What if you could AI generate the rendering of a website? And then what does that mean for news outlets? And then what does that mean for performance in general? And what kind of dangers does that pose if you have models which are not capable of doing what they claim to be capable of doing? There's a problem here. There's a big problem. And I don't think enough people care. So I'm bringing it up because I thought it was newsworthy. I mean, OpenAI is kind of like, it's growing tentacles and it's trying to grab everything it can along the way. And I currently don't see a path to much good coming out of that. Now, the final thing that I'm going to cover for this stream. But AI is here to help us. Yeah. OpenAI doesn't know why. Why don't they just ask ChatGPT or Claude since they're replacing developers? And yeah, okay, so that's a good argument as well, Sergeant. I thought about this and I didn't bring it up here, and I should. If you have an AI system that claims to be able to do what you say it can do, why don't you just make it create a browser? Why don't you build competitors to these things? Like, for example, I think it's OpenAI who wanted to buy Windsurf. I'm pretty sure. Yes, they're buying Windsurf. So Windsurf is an IDE, right? It's an AI IDE, right? Well, why can't you just... You have an AI system that you claim is capable of replacing engineers, programmers. So just use that and create a competitor. Then you don't need to spend any money. It's all internal. I really don't understand the messaging here, because it's a very mixed bag, right? So I don't know. It's I smell fire. There's smoke. There's smoke in the air. Um okay, the last thing that I want to go over, out of curiosity, just out of curiosity, how many people think, here, let me switch camera for a sec while I get this pulled up. How many people think that a prerequisite to programming is being able to understand logic? Just just logic, just having logical abilities and understanding logic, like being able to understand what it is and being able to understand, um let's say, like how to use it. So Mike on Twitch side says it's essential, right? It's kind of essential. So I would argue, right, that the Gary, yeah, yes, okay, the ability to, uh yeah, should be a prerequisite, but sadly it's possible to do badly without it. Yes, right. So okay, so let me take it one step further and you guys can tell me if you agree with this. When it comes down to it and you execute, you have a website, you have a piece of software, um, you have, I'm trying to think of other examples. I suppose it doesn't matter. I suppose everything kind of falls under those umbrellas. Anything that requires the execution of code operates purely, and I'm using these words very specifically, and you tell me if you agree, it's purely and solely within the purview of logical paradigms. It's nothing but logic once your code is executed on hardware that executes code. There's nothing else involved but a purely logical series of steps. And that's it. Period. At that level, right? Wait, I'll wait. I'll wait. Do 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 do. Okay, I've got the thing pulled up here. So if that's true, what was the question? The question was, do you agree that when you execute code on hardware, there is nothing involved except for logic? The only thing that's involved in executing code against hardware is it's entirely under the purview of logic. There's nothing else but a logical series of steps that are executed in a, you could say, a mechanical, I guess. It's not really mechanical, not always, but like, you know, the fashion upon which code is executed is purely based on a logical paradigm and nothing else. Nothing else is involved in that except purely logic. Isn't there the magic part where the computer does something random and figures it out for you? But it would still be a deterministic, right? Even if I know it's a bit tongue in cheek there, Gare Games, but even if we grant that, right? Let's just take it. There's some magic. It would come out deterministic. It would come out purely based on the laws of logic, right? It has to be that there's 100% deterministic, right? And a deterministic outcome means that you would have to apply a series of steps that are based in logic, based definitionally on logic. Yes. Yeah, computer has to follow the laws of logic. It is how the machine was made. Okay. I am going to make an argument that one of the requirements that programmers should have in this field is a crash course on the laws of logic from a theoretical and even perhaps even a philosophical point of view. Because that is fundamentally, not fundamentally, that's the only way these things operate. That there is no other way that these things operate. Your code, when executed, operates purely on the laws of logic and literally nothing else. So you must have a fundamental understanding as a prerequisite to anything that's related to computer like manipulation, you know, or whatever, like whatever you're doing in computers, right? And the reason why is exactly what I'm going to get into. Somehow, our industry has been captured by people who do not understand fundamental basic laws of logic. They get catapulted into top positions with a bunch of money and a bunch of fame, and then they lean on their own anecdotal, internalized, personalized experiences, which are not based in logic, and they cannot provide any logical arguments when you counter ideas within the paradigm of logical computer processes. And then you put all that together and you get people who think they're God's gift programmers. If you would like to see someone who fits exactly this bill, you can go on my X and you can find this post. It's the last thing I posted, and you can find this person. Somehow, this person believes that he is God's gift to programmers. Now, he might actually be an intelligent person. There's definitely something that he's done that landed well. I don't think he's, I'm not going to say he's stupid or anything. But what I will say, I had myself and a few others have had an entire interaction yesterday on X, which I linked to here. Okay, this is the beginning of the interaction, where we're trying to make a case for an extreme logical endpoint of a particular paradigm, representing a principle that can apply to less extreme logical paradigms. Everything you hear or everything you read as a response to that challenge is nothing but logical fallacies. And I mean literally every response. There is not one single response in that entire web of responses that contained any amount of logical counter arguments at all whatsoever. 100% of them, and I do mean 100% of them, were entirely logical fallacies. All of them, every single one. Somehow, though, people like him get 40,000 followers and a huge following. They make a ton of money. They're well connected. They are basically set for life. And if you look at what people like him focus on, including in his own responses, they focus on the money. The money is their measurement of success, whether they're good at their job or not. And that's what they care about. As a result of people like this, who essentially sit at the top of, you could say, or near the top of the technological industry pyramid and operate everybody underneath them and push things, influence and paradigms and so on underneath them, what you ultimately end up having is the state of the industry as it is today, which is an inability for people to produce anything of quality anymore. That's the problem. Because of people like this. Not because they're stupid, but just because they do not know how to employ logical reasoning in a world where the only thing that matters is logical reasoning. The laws of logic are fundamental to operating in this space. So I'm going to, for anybody watching right now, I would massively encourage you to go get this post on X from me and click on this link and look at the arguments back and forth and judge for yourself. Because nothing about what this supposedly amazing developer is doing and claiming has any basis in any logical argument whatsoever, period. Not one thing. But these are the kind of people who have captured the top level of the industry, who get all the money that smarter people should get, and who think that somehow they are the ones that everybody should look up to. I want to encourage everyone to do some homework. If you do not know how to define logic, or if you do not know what the laws of logic are, there's 3 of them, please go look it up. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes, maybe, if you take it slow. Understand what the laws of logic are and understand what the definition of logic is. I actually, ever since this exchange yesterday, I have been convinced that it should be a prerequisite for all programmers who want to operate in this space to understand that. Without that, we have the state of the industry such as it is. John on YouTube says Terry Davis was gifted. Yeah. Here, that's kind of the last thing I wanted to cover. So let me just catch up on chat here. Student for life, which I think is good, but junior developer for life is completely different. Yeah. Junior developer for life. Impressive to declare you will always need coworkers to bail you out daily so you can get your tasks done. Yes. And he literally kind of said that. He said that without saying that in the exchange that we had yesterday on that link. Having C++ and junior developer for life in the same sentence is terrifying. Yeah. OpenAI, Google, you guys are talking about that. Yeah. The more people who claim they're C++ developers, the more I agree with Rob Pike about how most developers are not good enough for it. Yes. Yeah. Every day I write in C, I write less C++. Feels great. Same here, Gary Games. They really want to turn programmers into consumers. They want to fill up the gas tank daily using Copilot. They think we're money printers. We already are consumers, Gary Games. Think about it. We already are consumers. How do you create code today? You're probably using an IDE of some kind, and you probably paid for it. If you think about it, we aren't exactly we don't dog food our own outputs, but we do create our own tools that we are our own consumers of. Basically admitting I'm incapable of or refuse to gain a strong foundation in any programming language. Yeah, your mom said you were gifted, I'm sure. I know, Mike, I know. You told me the same thing. So yeah, I think this is actually like a really important point that became painfully apparent to me yesterday, having this back and forth, myself and a few others with this guy. And I'm going to incorporate this idea into future streams of all kinds. We must make it a prerequisite that you are able to define what logic is, and that you are able to state and understand the 3 laws of logic. And that should be a prerequisite before you touch code. I actually think that's a huge fundamental principle that somehow we've missed, because ultimately that's exactly how the machines operate when you execute software against them. And if you don't know how to do that, then you can't even call this a debate. Because there was no counter argument to any logical statement being made here. You can't even have a proper debate based on logic about whether things should be done in a particular way or not within the scope of programming. So that's it. That's what I wanted to bring up. And I wanted to also be clear that you can also tell who. Have you ever heard of the saying? I'm sure most of you have the saying. Show me who your friends are, and I'll tell you who you are. That 100% applies here. I promise you, just take a few minutes and go look at that thread, go look at the posts, go look at what this guy has to say, go look at who this guy associates with, the people around him, and you can get a sense of why the tech industry is the way it is. And I think that's a damn shame, because I don't particularly think that he is dumb. I wouldn't say he's stupid. I just think it's misguided, because the emphasis on success is on exactly the wrong metrics. It's everything that you shouldn't base success in this industry on is what most people base their success in this industry on, that make them think that they're actually capable to operate in this industry. And it's completely wrong. And as a result of that, all the way up, all the way down, because of these opinions, because there is no logic anymore in a world purely based on logic, the entire thing explodes. And you can see this play out with like AI right now. You can see it played out with like Web3, no code, low code. Crypto took a big hit when it was overhyped. It's a bit more reasonable now, but these things happen over and over and over again. They continue to happen. It will not end until we set up some parameters for what exactly is programming, what exactly are programmers, and what are the fundamental principles you need to know in order to operate in this space. And if we don't have that, then we're just going to see the continued enshittification of the industry. So to anybody out there who's watching right now or in the future, I cannot stress this enough. Go look at this post and go look at the exchange back and forth, and you can tell me if you don't agree that defining what logic is and being able to list and define the 3 laws of logic should be a prerequisite to programming, period. It should be the first thing you learn before you learn anything about code or hardware or anything at all. You need to know those things. Subscription to replace our thinking. Yeah, I agree with that, Gear Games. Yeah. Logic should be taught in primary. Yes. I think it should. I 100% agree with that. Logic should be taught in primary. Beer, whiskey, coffee snob. I don't see cigar. Opinion invalid. Yeah. I think you would appreciate the views a Frenchman called Arnaud Lemaire about software. Sadly, it's all in French. Well, John on YouTube, fortunately, we have AI to translate that for us. I'm gonna look that up, and I will literally go through translating it. Okay, so Sargent and 0x. I know you guys are talking about OpenAI and Google, but I'm gonna end the stream here. If you want to continue talking about this, you're more than welcome to. You can talk about it on Twitch, on like via DM, or if you want, you can hop on to the Discord and you can chat about it there. And if you do that on Discord, not this one, hang on. Yeah, if you do it on Discord, I'll even jump in. Okay, I'll jump in on the conversation, but I'm going to end the stream. So I'm sorry, because I know you two are having a good back and forth. I can see you're having a very good back and forth. I'm sorry, you two will have to carry it on elsewhere. Okay, you're welcome to jump on Discord, and I'll jump in too if you want. Okay, that's it. I'm out of here. That's it for the Daily Tech News for today. I will be back tomorrow. The Discord, John, on YouTube. That's a good point. Here, John. Let me do this. John, let me know if you got that before I end the stream on the YouTube side. but I will be back tomorrow. I guess tomorrow's Friday, so it'll be the last day for the daily tech news stream. I still have news that I didn't even cover today because I thought the OpenAI and that exchange back and forth on X was more important. So yeah, I'll be back tomorrow, and then hopefully on the weekend, I'm thinking probably Sunday, I'll probably do another video game stream. There's a lot going on with the video game. I have many plans, and I need to get through a bunch of stuff. So I'm doing whatever I can here. So Firefox's vertical tabs, great. You got it, John? Okay, perfect. Okay, well then that's it. I'm out of here. Have a good day. Have a good night wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Thanks again for being here. Make sure to do the like, subscribe, reshare, repost. Those things are helping. Actually, hang on, one last thing. Hang on. Did I break it? Hang on. One last thing. Holy crap, I broke it. Boys. I might have to do a special stream. Before I switch cameras, I just want to be very, very clear. What I'm about to show you is not through my efforts. It's because of all the viewers who come and support the message that I'm spreading, who are willing to see what I'm trying to do here. What I'm trying to do on this stream is show you that we're in a bad spot right now with tech in general, but we can salvage it. And that's what I'm trying to encourage all of you to do. And that's why I do all of this time on my free time. I don't charge for any of it. I'm not asking for any of your money, and I never will. All I want is to get the message out that we have the ability to do way, way better, and that we do not need to listen to people who cannot even define what logic is. I really, really care. I love programming. I love this industry. It's given me a life. It puts food on the table right now with admittedly only contract work. It's barely enough, but it's still way better position than I used to be when I was younger, let alone what a lot of other people go through. I'm so grateful, and I'm so happy that I get to do this, and I get to build a fun video game and all of that. All of these things matter to me greatly, and I know that they matter to a lot of people who watch me too. And because of your support, now I have let me switch over. Hang on. Now I have this. Look at that number. I just broke it. That's because you guys do things like liking it, even if it's 1. It actually does matter. The views, the number of hours watched. I know some of you will play something and then you'll just put it on mute, or you'll play it 2 times or whatever it is. The upvotes, the reposts, the sharing, and the activity on X, the activity on Rumble, the activity on Twitch, they all play into this. Because of your interaction, I'm getting more reach, not because I make money off of this or it benefits me in some way. I'm actually a pariah. I know for a fact people have avoided hiring me because of my takes on here, because I really care about this industry. I'm not even joking. I know people have not considered me for jobs that I would be well suited for because of what I do. But it's because I care. And so because of what you guys do, those simple buttons, the algorithm game that I hate so much, I'm able to spread this message out to more people and hopefully empower more people like yourself to be able to make the actual logical arguments to help the industry change its path. I can't do it alone. That much is clear. And it's whatever you're doing is working. Please keep it up. And I really appreciate all of the support out there. So maybe I'll have to do a special 20K stream. I'm not sure, but thank you. Thank you, because this really matters to me, and it feels good to know that there's at least one other person out there who it matters for in the same sense, right? So I really appreciate it. So please keep doing that. I know I keep threatening to end the stream. I'm going to do it now. Thank you, everybody. Like I said, have a good day. Have a good night. I will be back tomorrow for another daily tech news stream. Stay safe out there. Peace.